Well, I guess if there was any hope for us winning the Summer League title, based on what we saw tonight against the Utah Jazz, I don't know if it's going to happen for the Phoenix Suns. Ugh. Matthew, I'm beat up a little bit inside.
You had me going like I was watching a movie or something, man. How emotional. Yeah, terrible. Take a lap, right? That whole
take a lap. Take a lap.
Especially that first half. Like, what the hell? I think I was more focused on other things. Kind of. I was watching the game, but come on. What do you want me to do, John? With this,
this is Summer League. And Summer League means you're doing other things other than truly watching the basketball game. If you're on Twitter, you're vacuuming, you're taking the dogs for a walk and coming back and being like, oh, it's the end of the third quarter. Suns have 39 points. Now, granted, I get it's 10-minute quarters in Summer League, but 39 points after 3 quarters. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's bad. But plus, when you have a birthday yesterday and you're 20 years old, you're in Vegas. I mean, birthday or not, you're in Vegas. Back-to-back games, it's not going to be a good game the next game. So I kind of expected it, man. And yeah, like Iverson Blogs is saying, I'm ready for Thad Young.
Yeah, I'm ready. Bring on Thaddy Young, man. We need something. So obviously, we're the Suns Jam Session podcast, and we're here to break down Summer League basketball for you, even if it is a steaming pile of turd, maybe some turd nuggets, and you don't even get ranch. You ever do that? You ever go through the drive-thru and you get something like chicken nuggets or egg rolls and they just don't give you the side sauce? Like, that's how this feels right now. Like, we don't even get a side sauce. There's not too much positive to talk about in this game, but you know what? We're still going to talk about it, aren't we, Matthew?
Yeah, and honestly, the sauce thing, they just don't give enough sauce anywhere you go, so it doesn't even matter. It's like, hey, can I get even like Taco Bell? Like, they give you barely any packets. What is the deal with that? So anyway, that's
it's funny though. Like, they'll sit there and they'll be like, how many packets do you want? I don't know, a handful.
Yeah,
like seriously, if Taco Bell or any fast food joint is being murdered by the single serving packets of hot sauce and or ranch and or sweet and sour sauce, if they're being murdered by that financially, maybe they shouldn't be in the fast food business. Seriously.
No, you're right. I don't know, it started happening like 10 years ago before. Like, it's 2 sauces per whatever you're having. So
if that
garbage.
They'll give you they'll give you 1 sauce of ranch and you'll get something. You're like, hold on, like, come on, like, I'm a grown man. I ordered chicken nuggies. I want some ranch with it. Like, give me 2 packets.
I'm a grown man. I ordered chicken nuggies.
Yeah, I got chicken nuggies. I got the Happy Meal because I want the toy too, because I want to play. Like, I'm a grown man, but I like to play. And that's just the way that it goes. So, sorry, Jamsters, but this is Summer League basketball. These are Summer League podcasts. But you know what? We appreciate you, the Jamster, whether you're listening along or you're watching along live with us. If you happen to be watching along live, go ahead, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, hit that notification button that lets you know whenever we are live. And you can become an elite Jamster simply by clicking the join button, following the link in the description. If you're listening, please leave a 5-star review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, anywhere else, just subscribe, rate, and review while you're here. We truly appreciate it. You can follow the show at Suns Jam on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. And you can follow Matthew on Twitter
at Matthew Lissy.
And you can follow us through Taco Bell drive-thrus complaining about our sauces. So on that note, again, I'm just drinking water. There's not going to be a beer crack tonight. We both got our Suns cups full of hydrating water because it's summer in Arizona and it's a Tuesday. And you know what? I'm just trying to cut back a little bit, New job, new me. It's one of those things. So
there you go. Good reason.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and kick this off and we'll talk about the Summer League loss to the Utah Jazz. Yes. It seems that if the Suns beat you in the playoffs last year, like the Lakers or the Jazz, damn it, Matthew, they're getting their revenge here in the Summer League. We are now 0-2 against teams that we played in the playoffs last year in the summer league. But you know what?
I
That's
don't
not
think
the
that's
first.
right, dude. That's the Denver Nuggets. Are you getting them confused?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I always get the
yeah,
Jazz and the Nuggets mixed up.
yeah. I know
Total.
everyone does, dude. But you
Those
can just say
damn
the same thing.
those damn mountainous teams. Nobody knows the difference. But that's not the first question I have for you, Matthew. The first
Okay.
question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
I gotta ask you, Matthew. And you know what, Jamsters, if you're watching along live, this is a good opportunity for you to ask questions in the chat too for us to answer at the beginning of this podcast. But are those Summer League purple jerseys better than our regular purple jerseys?
Yeah,
You knew I was
honestly,
gonna go there, right?
I kind of did, but it's the first thing I noticed this game is how they kind of pop. They look kind of good, maybe tweak them a little bit to make them look more professional, but they look good, man. Just purple on purple. But the color, is it just my TV or something? Like the color looks like a more vibrant purple. I know it's
Mhm.
probably the same kind of purple, but it just looks like it pops more. And you're totally right, man. The ones we have now, for some reason, the Suns will not wear them, especially in the playoffs. They would
Yeah.
absolutely not wear the purple. I guess they just don't like it. So refresh it. And just really quick, I know they're bringing back the Valley jerseys, but I would like to see something else. Something else this year. I mean, people get bored quickly, and I think
Mhm.
that a new jersey or something like a nice purple would be nice.
I agree, and I think this is a good opportunity to talk about the jersey conversation going into next year because we're going to be talking about the summer league game, and I don't know how long we can talk about that hot bag of garbage that we watched. But a couple things here. One of the reasons that I like the jerseys that they wore tonight is the way the Phoenix font looked. It's the way that I've always thought it should look on our current purple jerseys. If you recall from memory, because you have to go way back into the crevasses of your memory to remember when we last wore the purple jerseys. But the Suns have that shadowed text on Phoenix. And you've heard me say this before. They've got kind of the gray shadowed text versus just it being white. And
Mhm.
the Summer League jerseys tonight, it says Phoenix in just white, and against the purple, that pops more.
Yes.
And I think when you have kind of that in the Suns jersey itself, the white one does the same thing where it says Suns. There's some darker orange areas that again they're attempting to try to make it look a little 3D. Just kind of they're getting a little too smart for themselves. The best logos are plain logos. Look at the New York Yankees logo. There's no like depth perception. It's an N and a Y. The Dodgers, that LA. Those are the iconic. The Dallas Cowboys, it's just a star. It's when you keep it simple, stupid, from a design standpoint, good things happen. You know me, I have a passion for graphic design, so I always notice these little things. So, of course, the first thing I saw was those jerseys tonight. And to your point, yes, it was in a story that I actually reported on Bright Side of the Sun maybe last week, maybe a couple weeks ago. The Phoenix Suns going into the next season, in which a lot of teams are going to have origin jerseys because the 75th anniversary. The Suns and the Jazz are the two teams that are not going to go down that route. They're going to stick with their city edition jerseys. So we will have another season of the Valley jerseys, which is fantastic. But to your point, like there's not going to be any earned jerseys this year. That's the jersey that every team gets for earning a playoff spot. So the Suns finally get there, and they're not going to have that earned jersey. So we're pretty much going to have the same exact jersey setup as we had this previous season, which again is fine. But to your point, we all want something new, don't we?
Yeah, but what? So we don't. Why do we not get the earned jerseys? Or
Because they're
of the
not doing them
origin?
next year because of
the
the
origin?
75th anniversary.
That's the reason. Okay, I didn't know that. I
Yes.
thought they would release those too. It's disappointing. I love the Valley jerseys, but these are the first jerseys where it's like, whoa, we have to buy. I mean, everyone was lining out the doors. They sold out. They don't even have them in stock, right? Still to really buy them, the ones that you actually
Yeah.
want, the right sizes.
That's why they want to bring them back because they didn't.
I
they didn't
guess
get a
so,
chance.
but still, it's awesome. I love it. The court looks good. I think everything matches well. But the orange jerseys that they had to wear last year in the playoffs, it doesn't look good. I don't like them. I don't like those. I don't like the white ones. They don't match a title contending team. They just don't.
Yeah.
What the Milwaukee Bucks have, they have a great uniform set.
Yeah, they have a great uniform set.
Denver Nuggets, even them too. Like, I just think that they're just more sophisticated look. The Suns white ones, like you said, the way it's 3D is just so dumb. The simpler the better. And you brought up the Dallas Cowboys. They do have kind of like the edge on it with the white, but their old, it was just a blue star. That's like my
Just a
favorite.
simple blue
The
star,
blue
yeah.
star on the white helmet was perfect. Just keep it simple. Stupid.
Stupid. And that's, again, I don't know why we went down this avenue of it's because it was my first question for you. But again,
doesn't matter.
I think that that's something that I saw tonight. I saw those purple jerseys with the orange number and the white Phoenix on it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that looks nice. That looks nice.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we'll actually kick off this pod. It took us a little bit last time, but everybody wants to talk about sticks, so let's talk about it.
The Sticks Summer League Report.
So Jalen Smith is obviously the focus of everybody's attention in this summer league. We want to see if he develops into the player that we believe that he could be, and truthfully, the player that this team needs. They need to have that athletic big, especially with Dario Saric out going into this upcoming season. So you want to see progress from him, knowing that the result isn't always what you want to say. Like, if he misses a layup, like, I'm not going to lose my shit. It's how he got to the point in which that layup occurred that I'm focused on right now. Okay? Because those are the little things that you can clean up, but you can't clean up how he got there necessarily. So, I'll let you kind of kick this off. What are your observations on Jalen Smith this evening?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, this game, I mean, no one really played well. So I'm not really basing any of this off the game. I mean, on defense, he looked a little slow, but we know that laterally he can't really move. But I mean, he did have that steal at the end. It was pretty nice, but he can't really handle the ball. The one time he tried to make a move and go to the rim, take the defender off of it, he lost the ball. So those are things that need time. But what the Suns need is someone that can come in and actually just perform in a way to where they're confident in those situations, so where they can get to the rim, they can draw a foul in those situations. They're not going to fumble the ball at their knee because they haven't had the practice. And that's the thing that sucks, is Sticks might turn into something pretty good, but right now it just doesn't look like. I know it's summer league and it doesn't matter, but I just think that right now when James Jones is sitting over there with, I believe, might be his wife, and they're looking at the phone, it might be offers from other teams like, hey, this is what we can give you for Sticks and something. And it sucks to say, but I just think that's where the Suns are heading. And it's nothing bad about Sticks. It's just the Suns just need that proven guy behind him. It kind of reminds me like before the trade deadline when I talked about DeAndre Ayton, when he was struggling. And I was just like, could we just have someone at the center position that knows what to do, knows how to rebound, knows where to be on offense, and just, is used to that position. And I mean, of course, Aiden proved me wrong. He automatically turned the switch on. He was the fantastic, turned into a superstar in the playoffs. But that's what we need to back up DeAndre Ayton in the 4 spot, is some guy that's just really confident in his game and just come in and put in some good minutes. Sticks is just he's kind of out there, and it's going to be difficult to really watch him next year to see him really make an impact quickly. And that would suck because then he'll just lose minutes again and be on the bench and not even play next year.
Well, and that's the challenge as we look at Jalen Smith, is we know that it takes big men typically a little bit longer to get accustomed to the league and to develop properly. I mean, look at DeAndre Ayton. His first year, he was lost on defense. In the second year, he started to get some of that understanding, and by the third year he had that under the identity of being like, listen, I will be the rim protector, I will be your anchor on defense as my offensive role decreases. Knowing that Jalen Smith isn't somebody who we want to be a starter, but somebody who provides quality minutes for the Phoenix Suns. You take a look at his game and you're just looking for those flashes of greatness. I don't expect him to put it all together. And if you're going to sit here and, again, I'll mention what Zona Sports said on Twitter. It's like the only time anything in summer league is going to matter is when it fits your narrative, which is kind of a backhanded way of saying like none of it truly matters. All we're looking for is some semblance of progress and him picking up the game. And I think, the most important thing that I've noticed with Jalen Smith is he is the most athletic guy out there. Now to your point, he's not the best ball handler. He's not in the right spots a lot of time. The Suns, I feel, aren't utilizing him properly to put him in the area to be successful, especially last game. But I do think that some of those adjustments were made. His first game, he had 15 points, 12 rebounds. In this game, he had 12 points, 15 rebounds, and I don't care if he was 1 for 9 in the first half, because I care about how he got those shots. And I was writing down every one of his shots. So his first shot was a right block post up. He turned right, got fouled, and made that, missed the free throw, but got to the free throw line with his physicality. His second shot was a post up in the paint. He faded away, going left and missed that shot. But again, 2 consistent possessions at the beginning of the game where they're posting him up. I'm like, okay, now we get an opportunity. Like we were talking on the podcast last night, Matthew, about seeing him down on the block. And then you see him grabbing a rebound under the basket off a teammate's that was blocked. He put up an awkward layup and missed it, but it was a great hustle play that he was down in there again, in the paint. He had a turnaround 19-footer that he missed, but the shot clock was winding down. He had a rebound putback that he missed. And then he kind of, the back end of the first half, you could see he was a little bit tired. You could see that he was a little bit winded. You see him when he's on the free throw blocks while the opposition was shooting free throws. His hands were on his knees a bunch. And then he had a 3 from the left wing miss, a 3 from the right wing miss. And then he opened up the second half with a 3 from the right wing that he made. He had a transition make. He had a rebound to an aggressive dunk make. He had a shot block that on a jam that was missed. And then he had that fast break steal that he fumbled the ball. So it was a layup at the end, and that was a make. So again, looking at where he was taking his shots and how he was taking his or getting himself in those positions is what I was looking at. And I have, constructive criticism for him as well that I'll talk about here momentarily. But offensively, I saw much more paint presence and many more high screens from Jalen Smith tonight than I saw last night. So again, that's moving in the right direction, in my opinion.
It is, and honestly, he had a little bit of a toughness thing in him tonight. Maybe it's because like his dudes won't. I think Cam Payne was there and Cameron Johnson were still on the sideline, but he had like this toughness where he would do the stare down thing a few times. That was pretty fun to watch. It's not really a lot because when these guys are sitting on the bench, like you don't really see that personality on the floor, of course. So when it's out there, you don't know what to expect and how they respond to certain situations. So and tonight, it just seemed like in the first half, it was like kind of just tired from the minutes. Legs might be tired from the night before. I know he's so young, but this is like real minutes he's actually getting for the first time. So the way he responds to that in the second half, he did come out and he played strong, dude. And he it's not like he was terrible. I'm not saying that at all. I thought he did pretty decent, not as good as last night, but it's just to the point to where, you're looking at him and how much coaching does it take to get him to the point to where we need him to be that guy for us. And we still need that backup wing, backup big. And it's a question of whether or not he can be that guy. And he might not be, but what were you saying? Constructive criticism. Where are you going with that? What were
so
you saying,
here's what I noticed where he has areas of opportunity. First, and this is the big one for me, is he is a hands down defender. When he's on defense, his hands are down at his hips, and he's got those big long arms. And I noticed, there's a few times where he was switched onto the guards. And use that wingspan, guy. Get the hands up. Every now and then, if he's doing a shot contest, he would put the hand up. But for the most part, he's not playing with his hands out. He's playing with them down. You don't have to be up the whole time because that's, creates opportunities for guys driving by you. But make yourself into that, 7 foot, almost 8 foot wingspan. Make yourself that wall. And he plays with his hands down. So that's one thing that I noticed again. I think that his, and Orange Dip says it in the chat as well. And I think this is a valid point as well. He loses his man on defense many times. He's not even playing good D. These are the reasons why he didn't get any playing minutes after Dario Saric went down in the finals or for the most of the season last year. And I talked about this all the time last year. As much as people love Sticks and they thought that he had good offensive capabilities, the backbone of the Phoenix Suns last season was the fact that they actually played defense. You can't bring a guy in who has no idea what he's doing on defense and continue that mantra and continue that culture. You need to develop his defense. And I think that that's one thing I was really clued in on today, as I was yesterday, and I mentioned on the pod yesterday, was how is he playing his defense? And I noticed it a lot more today. He was, he was playing less of the off the ball, playing the guy in the wing, so he had to stand there. He was getting involved, hands down defender. And then the other thing is I did see him playing a little bit of the 5 on Azabukwe. I'm sure I said that wrong. And I just noticed that, playing the 5, obviously he's got that big upper body. He's got no lower body. He gets moved off his spots very easily, much akin to how DeAndre Ayton was moved off his spots a lot early on and still gets from time to time. But one thing that's interesting is Azabukwe is, I don't know if you knew this, he's the only other player in last year's draft, first round draft pick, who played less minutes, scored less points, had less rebounds than Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith was number 2 in fewest minutes play, fewest minutes or fewest points scored, fewest rebounds, fewest assists, everything across the board. The only guy who had less was Azabukwe, and it makes sense. You look at last season, both the Jazz and the Suns were fighting for that number 1 seed, and they're not going to throw rookies out there in an effort to develop. They didn't have that opportunity. There wasn't spats of time where, players like I'm blanking on a lot of guys in that mid to late first round, non-lottery picks last season. A lot of those guys still got playing time, because you hear that all the time. That's the narrative, right? Well,
Sadiq Bey.
Yeah, Sadiq Bey's a great example, though.
Yeah.
But no, because he was a non-lottery
Wasn't he higher?
pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Detroit's a shitty team, so they had 2 picks. They went with Killian Hayes, they went with Sadiq Bey. But you look at like whoever the Lakers drafted last year, or the blanking on it, the Denver Nuggets, whoever these guys drafted. You hear that narrative with Sticks. Well, it's like, well, he's not going to get a lot of playing time because they're so good. It's like, I get that, but there's a lot of other guys who were drafted who played for good teams who got minutes. And it's because he's a defensive liability. So we need to really take a look at how he's defending, and that's one thing he really needs to put that effort on, because he is a good offensive player. He's not great, but he can score on 3 levels. He can score threes. I prefer he doesn't. He can shoot jumpers, and he's really, he can be lethal inside the paint. It's just like DeAndre Ayton. When DeAndre Ayton accepted, like, hey, I can score over here, that's not what my team needs. My team needs me to be a solid defender, and I have the length and the physical skills necessary to do so. That's when everything's going to really start clicking for Sticks, and that's where we'll see him get some playing time.
I totally agree. And it's like, the New York Jets do this, I think, almost every year, where it's like they have a quarterback out there not doing too good. Hey, throw someone else out there, throw the backup out there. That was the way it was in the playoffs last year, or in the finals, or not, because Sarge got hurt. But when we were just looking for that big guy, it's like, take Sarge out, put Sticks in, see what he can do. But you can see what he can do. And it's always like, you just got to trust the coaching staff. We do this every time, even with Javon Carter and the guards that weren't playing, and we would lose a game. It's like, why aren't these guys getting minutes when they can come in and do this and that, this and that? Of course, the coaches know exactly what to do and who to play in certain situations, and whether or not you can throw Jalen Smith out there. And obviously, you're watching tonight, like you said, getting moved off the block. Ayton does do that because he's playing against gigantic monsters. Yes. All of a sudden, the NBA has all these centers that are just freaking they're just disastrous against him, and they're just blowing him up off the block a lot of the times. And that's going to make sense until he is used to that situation. So if you want to throw Jalen Smith out there, you're going to get that on defense. And like when you were talking about his arms, getting them out, it would be nice, but I think just that, even with his arms out or the guy moving past him, it's an easier way for the guy, if they're smart, to draw the foul. And I think he's just so slow to react to these guys on the move, in the paint, like wherever they're at, wherever he's guarding them. If those guys make any kind of move, he just cannot get there in time to really put his body against them and just create kind of a wall. He's just already blown. Those guys blow by him. So you see what the results are tonight on defense, and that's just the one reason why we didn't see him last year. So it just goes to show, trust the coaches a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And, we're not the GMs, and, just because the guy can dunk really nice doesn't mean necessarily he's a great NBA player. And at the same time, when I see guys who don't put their hands out, that also tells me, it's either they're super tired, which again, you mentioned, he's 21 years old. He's in Las Vegas. He's playing back-to-back nights. He's been putting in a lot of effort on the practice floor as well. So there might be a reason for that. Or it's just, you're not a good defender, or you're lazy. You're a lazy defender. So again, these are things that as we move forward in Summer League and we move forward in preseason, these are the things to watch for with Jalen Smith. We know he can score. We know he can dunk. It's nice to see that the Suns were utilizing him more down on the low post earlier in the game. Again, he started drifting, out to the 3-point line. But in the beginning of the game, they were getting him on the block, and he was trying some moves out. And again, he's not necessarily making those shots, and I'm okay if he doesn't make those shots. This is Summer League. I don't give a shit. I care about the move you put on, the effort you put forth in, to get to that spot. And then based on that, that's where you can develop your game. Because if you can do a right spin move and you have a look at the rim and you miss it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get more confidence in that spin move, and you're going to perfect that move, and you're going to get that down, and it will go in for you. Again, this is Summer League. He's in his second year. But when I see those things on defense, it's not necessarily something that I'm optimistic about. And it's sad because as you're watching the game and you're seeing, people are on Twitter and they're up. They need to trade him. They need to trade him. Like, He needs to put some more film out there so they can trade him. And I don't know if that's necessarily the right answer. A couple things I will give again to Jalen Smith that were positives. Driving and kicking. I thought that was very cerebral of him to do. He wasn't forcing the issue. He would drive on a couple instances where he drove into the center of the paint, and he kind of was getting ready to go up on a shot, and there was shot deterrence there, and he would kick it out. He still had quality lateral movement and shot deterrence when he was taking on the guards. There's that one play where they kept talking about it, where they're like, oh, what a great block by Jalen Smith, and it wasn't Jalen Smith. It was like the Hankins.
It was
dude.
the Bender. Yeah.
It was Bender 2.0.
What a bad showing by him tonight. Our new and improved Bender was just not. I feel like he was out trying to hang last night, and he came in. He looked like he was about to throw up, especially waiting for these games to start too. I know it's a 7:00 start, but it must be so weird to be in the locker room to wait for the game to finish. Like, when you're younger and you play those games. I mean, when I was like, I don't know, 5th grade, how we used to play, and you just wait for the game to be finished. You come in. It's annoying to wait for it to be done. So maybe that's something too to look at. I don't know.
Maybe, but I doubt it with these guys. They're all AAU kids. They've been doing it their entire life,
Yeah, that's true.
But to your point, Hankins was looking nice until he bendered an alley-oop. I mean, he had a wide open alley-oop as one of the best passes of the game, and he just went up and he couldn't even get hops enough to dunk it. So the guy
is that a Sarge thing? Is that
it was, but I called it Bender because Bender just by the time Bender left the Suns, he was so confused as to what he is.
I feel bad,
and I do too. I mean, I think that Dragon Bender is one of the horrible stories from the era, from the the Ryan McDonough era, and not having consistent coaching. Because I feel if that guy had the consistent coach, he could have developed into a solid NBA player for this team. That being said, he's gone on other places, hasn't done anything. But I really think that he had an opportunity to be something special, and the Suns coaching got so far into his head, he didn't know what the fuck he was anymore. He's like, am I a 3-point shooter? Am I somebody who has to live inside? Even though I get that I'm 7 feet, but I don't have the girth to hold my own down there. Can I be finesse? And by the end of his career, he couldn't do anything for the Suns.
No, I mean, that just shows how the organization was before, right? F these guys up and you're out the door. So yes. Seriously, they had no chance, honestly. I mean, not to give any kind of advice with Josh Jackson or anything, to go the other way to make the right decisions. But I mean, I think he was hopeless here. Those guys were just hopeless.
Yeah, they just had no chance for success because the organization was in such shambles. That's why we talk about Suns culture and how important that is. That's the exact reason why. Because without it, you see what it does to young players, 18, 19-year-old players, men learning how to become men. And you're in a culture like that, and it's just not indicative of success, nor do they have the capacity to teach these young men how to properly navigate not the basketball court, but what happens outside of there as well. So, a few other observations, funny questions I have for you. How awkward would it be if, let's say, you had front row seats at Summer League and you go down there and campaign is like it's campaign, your seat, and then Cameron Johnson. And you're the seat right in between. Because I don't know if did you see they were sitting courtside tonight?
Yeah.
Which, another question, how good was Campaign's birthday party last night if he was at Summer League games tonight?
Oh, what do you mean? You think they're still going?
I think it couldn't have been that good of a birthday because he wasn't left on the roof of Caesar's Palace like The Hangover. He showed him and both him and Cam Johnson were present on courtside.
Yeah.
Dude, you didn't have a good enough birthday party campaign. You need to be too hungover to show up, bro.
I'm sure someone brought the Adderall to Vegas, honestly. I mean, you're looking at Cam Johnson sitting there like this. Yeah, he's a little bit – he's probably on something. Because, if they're drinking and maybe they get a couple hours of sleep, because it doesn't matter to them. It's all fun, right? It's all basketball. They don't have anything to do, so they're going to sit there and watch the game. So I feel like they just have to go
in really good shape. They're professional athletes.
Yeah, they can't just leave them go watch one game and leave them for the next game. Some of them showed up, so it was nice. So you got to party the night before, maybe sleep a little bit at the pool the next day, and then pop that Adderall. There you are. You're right there at the game. Take a big poop, and you're ready to go.
You're good to go. One bowel movement, you're good to go.
That's me in Vegas, I guess.
So how awkward would it be though? Yeah, that's what you get for waking up in Vegas. How awkward would it be if that was your seat though? It's right in between the two camps. You're like, excuse me guys, but I'm seat number 7.
Yeah, well, first I would just give them the seat because you're asking me too, someone that's kind of a little bit awkward at times, can be socially. So it's gonna be awkward, but I would just hand them our business card, be like, "Hey, Suns Jam session, you ever watch? You want to be on the pod? Can we do a quick interview?" That's what I would
Well,
ask them. But what would you do though? I mean, it would be kind of weird, but I would just
no,
switch seats right
I
away.
would do the same thing. For one, I'd be like, "Oh, hey, what up, guys? Oh, that's my seat right there. No worries, I'll go sit in the last row. I don't care. Like you
Yeah,
guys are good."
yeah,
But I would
yeah.
definitely say something and just say, "What's up?" Hey, how's it going, guys?
That would be cool. Oh, really quick, could I ask you a
Go,
question? So
please,
these
fire away.
uniforms, these shorts, these players that are wearing, they're so little. Like, I don't. Do you think they're gonna move to jock straps next year, or some season in the future, to where they're just coming out with not even the jock straps? They wear like just those under the
The compression
compression shorts.
shorts.
You think they're just gonna be wearing that someday? Because
Maybe
they're
eventually.
wearing nothing out there, dude. They're showing the booty, the everything. You can see all the
Isn't it
business,
funny
dude.
how like in the 70s and 80s it was really short, and then
Yeah,
the Fab Five changed it to where it was really long, and then like Jordan I think got it right. Jordan had it just above the knee,
yeah.
and then like in the 2000s it went really long again, and then yeah, we've had this whole renaissance going back to like booty shorts out there. I think
That's what they look like,
they'll
booty
always
shorts.
have the compression shorts will always be underneath, but they'll always have the
Mhm.
little. They'll never go full compression, and I think the only reason for that is
Oh,
like for fouling reasons. Like sometimes you'll get a foul called if your jersey moves, or if your shorts
yeah.
move. So there's no move with those compressions, and I don't think they don't want they don't want to be showing the whole the whole crowd their pork and beans.
It's gonna happen one of these days.
I saw plenty of that during the Olympics, like the sprinters. You're like, whoa, come on, guys, like where's something underneath? So I'm watching
You're
this with my wife. I'm like,
It
hey,
reminds
hey,
me.
hey.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. All right. And then honestly, do you remember there was a draft workout, I think 4 or 5 years ago, some guy was running and he was doing the 40-yard dash,
Uh huh.
and
I remember
his
this.
his
He came
trunk
right
just
out of
fell
his
out
crap.
and he
Yeah,
dove on the ground.
yeah. He just went down. He's like, whang down.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, that was pretty fucking funny, dude. So
Yeah.
anyways,
Oh man, no, I completely understand where you're coming from there. Other questions I have for this game. There's not very many. Again, this is bad basketball. The Suns scored 57
yeah.
total points, 19 for 79, 24% from the field. And it was worse than that. Again, they were down to like 19% after three quarters. It
Mhm.
was pitiful. I think Dave King tweeted out something like they're going to have to repaint the rims after this game because both teams were shooting so shitty. The Jazz won on shooting 35.7% from the field. But I wanted to ask about this. This is the second game consecutively where Taishan Alexander wasn't starting again.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't Like I told you last pod, I don't think it matters too much. I mean, he still got minutes. I thought he looked pretty decent tonight,
He
but
looked
just as
great.
tired as everybody else. Like, I know,
He's
but like
looked
he's looked pretty good. Like, he seems comfortable on the floor, right? Like, he seems like
yes.
he knows what he's doing. He looks more like just like the leader out there. Like, he has that attitude where it's like, I'm in the league. I need to be like, I need to actually earn some minutes and I need to get some minutes next year. That's the way he kind of acts out there. So I'm not saying it was anything fantastic. I just think that the whole team was just super tired and weird, but he was pretty solid tonight.
So here's kind of some reasons that I came up as to why Tyshawn isn't starting. One, maybe he's prepping for his normal role. Maybe the Suns are like, listen, have him
There
come
you
off
go.
the bench because that's if and when
Yeah.
he does get any playing time this season, that's how he's going to do it. Maybe it's a better chance to see double E Jalen Smith. Again, this is a guy who comes over from Germany. He's the MVP in their highest league of basketball over there. So maybe they want a better opportunity to see what he does. But here's the other thing I think, and again, top scorer for the Suns was Taishan Alexander, 5 for 13, had 16 points. He has a smooth, quick shot, and I really like his game. But I think that maybe the Suns aren't featuring him too much because if you do, another team's going to offer him more than a two-way contract. And I think there might be some
Mm.
validity to that, and which is kind of bullshit, just because like you want everyone to be as successful as possible. And if he has a good summer league, and like the Knicks are like, yeah, we'll bring you on, and we'll bring you on under a $2.5 million deal. Yeah, he's going to take that instead of getting like 400,000 from the Suns on a two-way. So I think that might have something to do with it. And even if that's the case, he's outplaying that expectation because he really looks good. And I'm proud of Taishan. And it's unfortunate that he is as far down on the depth chart as he is, especially because was confirmed today that Elfrid Payton will once again be a Phoenix Sun. But if that's the case, so be it.
Yeah, but plus Taishan could be like the third. I mean, the guy behind Devin Booker. You know
The
what I
guy
mean?
behind the guy behind.
He's I'm the.
They're
what
playing
is that
him more as a
from?
two guard.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like he is though. I feel like he has the ability to really get to the rim, and like he had that one move, like the Hurricane jerk towards the rim, and like using the glass again. Like he knows what to do out there. I feel like against these guys. So he seems comfortable, but I think the Suns know what they have with him. So of course, not starting him, maybe playing the bench role. You're right. Maybe just giving him the minutes, but not the most minutes on the team because everyone's there to see sticks. So it's just, I think the Suns know what they have, man. So maybe they're being careful with it. So maybe
I think so. And Orange Drip asks in the chat, says 2-ways don't count towards the cap, do they? No, they don't. So again, if you have a 2-way player who can fill a roster spot right now, that comes in pretty handy for this team that's pretty much all full now. I think we have 14 total roster spots are spoken for. Waiting on that last one. The Suns still have a mid-level exception and or half of a mid-level exception and half of something else. I forget what it is.
That's so probably Kawhi. I think Kawhi.
Definitely
he was at the game.
Definitely Kawhi is on the way.
He was at the Clippers game. So
I did like he was. He's at the Clippers. I saw that. I was like, oh, that's cute. They're trying to be the Phoenix Suns now. They realize that, and they're all just awkwardly sitting next to each other because they don't know how to interact. Because Kawhi's normally up in the owner's box, and he's like, hold on.
I would be too.
What do I say?
With your owner grabbing thighs like that after just a dunk or whatever, like I
was
would
like, yeah.
I would sit as far as that's the weirdest thing.
He was caressing somebody down when that happened.
Yeah,
my wife saw that. She's like, "What was that?" I was like, it gives everybody in the nation a tingle.
I was like, "Oh, what am I watching?" It was the weirdest thing ever, but
something highly inappropriate, and HR should have been contacted after that moment
right away.
Another thing that I noticed tonight is I like how NBA TV doesn't mute every cuss word from the players, because I really feel like it ruined the broadcast last night. Because with Summer League and the announcers once again being right down there on the court, you're hearing some ambient noise. And every now and then there's a shit. Every now and then, And on ESPN, Campaign was in the middle of an interview and somebody on the court had cussed. So he's like, I'm really excited. It's my day. And I'm really I'm excited everybody's here. Yeah, it sounded like he cursed.
Yeah, that didn't sound like he cursed. Yeah.
So kudos to NBA TV. I think the next two games, which is the Blazers and the Nuggets, I want to say, are both going to be on NBA TV for the Summer League for the Suns. So that pleases me. Now, that being said, the announcing team with Steve Smith and the lady who was doing it tonight was a little stale.
I was going to say.
They were trying to feel themselves out, but they were
them.
way better than Doris Burke and Mark Jones. I will say that. Guess what? They got their names right tonight.
They did, but I thought they were kind of they were chill. They were just there hanging out. They were joking around a lot, but it wasn't like fake joking, fake laughing. It was kind of just like they enjoyed each other's company. It seemed like it wasn't awkward. Because a lot of times, the way I see it right now with ESPN and everything, I think people are trying to get out. I think a lot of it's just too fake. A lot of it's just too forced, too micromanaged, not to be yourself, not to have personality. So it's nice to see just, people on the sideline just hanging out and having fun, because that's what people can relate to more, right? When you're watching the game, you don't want to hear someone that's just like talking crap and then they have to agree with each other and then they're just doing the fake laughing back and forth. It's just, it's kind of hard to watch. So, or even listen to, So I liked it tonight a little bit.
Well, and there's also instances where you have players like Chris Webber calling the game, and he's sitting there and he's kind of calling out players for actions that he doesn't think are the way that they approach the game or the way that they approach the off-court stuff. And it's like, dude, it's like, Chris Webber, you were a horrible pro. You had all the talent and you were a horrible pro.
Yeah.
So don't sit there and tell me what you think about. Yeah, you don't remember that stuff. But yeah, I really think that, it was just kind of funny, seeing Steve Smith tonight. Yeah. Steve Smith tonight. Dennis Scott's up there talking to Mr. Orange. And he's like, whoa, you really know about the Phoenix Suns? It's like, yeah, guess what? We got a kick-ass freaking fan base. Okay, we know.
Yeah, but that
stuff.
was a cool interview. It was
awesome.
Like,
it was
when he was asking the questions, I was like, "Is that him asking the questions?" Because he sounds just like a random person with a mic asking, and reacting to what he's saying. and just being surprised and calling him Mr. Orange and stuff. I just thought it was pretty cool, dude. I
No,
liked it.
I thought it was great. So again, I'm happy with the fact that it's on NBA TV. Carlos Miramon in the chat says some of the other guys on the Suns are seriously terrible, don't know anything on spacing, and just cause self-implosion chaos. And you know what? Matthew and I talked about this on last night's pod. It's because so many of these guys are just trying to put film together so they have an opportunity to maybe pick up a two-way contract, that they're just playing all that ISO ball hero bullshit. And unfortunately, that's the result, is you get no passing. You get a bunch of guys just dribbling themselves out of plays, turning the ball over. It's not pretty basketball. And, even though we're sitting here and we're doing a podcast after a summer league game, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We knew we were going to sit there and be like, you know what, that was the best summer league game I've ever seen. It's like, no, we're here to watch Taishan Alexander and especially Jalen Smith and just look for any flash of competency, essentially, hoping that he can eventually make an impact on this team, knowing that if that impact does occur, it's going to be coming from like the 12th or 13th spot on the bench at best. Right, Matthew?
Yeah, no, you're totally right, man. And a lot of this is just it's enjoyment. I was talking to my friend today and was just like, it's just fun to watch. And like, if I could at work, just have it on my phone and just watch, the better rookies out there play. And it's just enjoyable. There's nothing really there's no meaning to it. I mean, there's not a lot of meaning to life really, unless you find it. But I mean, just this actual summer league, not really a whole lot of meaning, man.
No, it's like I said, to kick off yesterday, I was like, this game is more meaningless than preseason. It's like it's inception of meaningless. It's meaningless on meaningless. And that's just what you deal with, But again, it's fun because it's basketball and we love basketball and we're going to talk about it and we're going to find some shit to talk about. The last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, it has nothing to do with the Suns. But Obi Toppin, 22-9 for the Knicks. If some way, somehow, the Suns could pursue Obi Toppin and bring him in, like, I'd like to give him a chance. Because you know me, I'm a huge Obi Toppin guy. He's playing behind Jalen Randall. I don't think he has any opportunity to grow in that New York Knicks system, because essentially what they're doing this season is they're running it back. They brought in Kemba Walker. He plays behind Julius Randle, but they brought in Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, so they got, but their core is still kind of there relative to their rotations, and Obi Toppin is somebody who I feel like, man, he'd be great on this team.
And I love him. And just like, okay, so Killian Hayes, we talked about last pod. Terrible.
We're like
passes.
revisiting.
Take a lap.
Take a lap.
But it's just like,
we need to make us drop for that or something,
Oh, it's from It's Always Sunny. Remember when Dennis is coaching the Little League?
Yeah. But, I think we need to snip that and put this in there.
Yeah.
It's like if you have it's like, hey, Chris Paul, take a lap.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you listen to podcasts during the season, these rookies aren't getting a lot of playing time. When they do, they don't look very good. So then they just get killed, man. Like, they get killed. They're like, oh, they're busts already. Like, there's no chance for these guys. What are they doing in that situation? I know that there's not a really good fit for him there in New York, but his career's not over. I mean, we both love Obi, so I like to get these guys another opportunity somewhere else, of course. So yeah, here in Phoenix would be perfect for him because we both love him. He'd be that backup power forward guy. But I hate the bashing on these rookies where it's just like, look at Killian Hayes, he sucks, he's done. And it's just, how do you see it within 1 year? I like to give guys 3 years.
I'm the same way. It's like a quarterback. It's like a quarterback you give him 3 years, because maybe that first year he didn't have a good O-line, or maybe the defense was really shitty, so he was always playing from behind, so he never got a chance to hand the ball off. So I agree with you. You got to give some of these guys 3, and that's what you do with. Again, it varies. Like guards, I definitely give 3 years. You know what you have when it comes to a guard. If a guy can shoot, a guy can shoot. Again, with the bigs, I really try to look for those defensive benchmarks, because that's where they can be most effective, and good defense leads to good offense. Any big guy can dunk. He's big. That's what they do. But if he is somebody who can play some defense, is hustling on defense, has good lateral quickness and movement, those are things that can translate anywhere. Defense travels. So with the big guys like Obi Toppin, I think that's, again, one of his challenges. He's very much like Jalen Smith. He's not a very good defender. He's obviously had more opportunity to do so. It's funny because I actually pulled up all the draft class last year. He played a total of 683 minutes, and he ended up scoring a total of 253 points last year. But if you look at that on ranks for total rookies drafted last year, Obi Toppin ended up being the 26th overall scorer last season. Now, granted, again, Jalen Smith ended as the 43rd overall score from the rookie class of 2020. So, there's got to be a lot of opportunities for these guys. And if they don't fit in specific systems, you hope that asset is something that, obviously New York wants to utilize that as an asset. They're like, well, it's the same thing as like when you play fantasy football or fantasy baseball or fantasy basketball. You might have drafted with like your 3rd round pick a wide receiver who just isn't very good. It was like that year everybody drafted Kelvin Benjamin. I know you remember that year because you drafted Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin. And guess what? By like week 5, you realize Kelvin Benjamin's dog shit. But he still was like your 3rd overall pick. So people will hold on to that simply because that asset cost them so much 5 weeks ago, or in this case, like 2 years ago, where you just need to at some point just let that asset go.
Yeah, but then also you can look at it too, like where you have that 3rd receiver that's really good and you're trying to trade him. You know what I mean? You can't put him in the lineup and like have him get up those. But then Obi Todd is different because these are rookies trying to figure it out, and they're going to be really shitty. Yeah, so never mind.
I just thought I'd throw a little fantasy football. I'm getting excited for fantasy football.
Ooh, I'm ready for football, baby.
Let's do this thing. Any other questions, comments, concerns? You got anything you saw that you want to bring up?
No, not really, man. I was just busy on my computer most of the game, so not a whole lot of, I was watching.
Okay. Well, then who are you going to give your
Jam Star of the Game?
You dropping the Jam Star of the Game 2 and 4 and such?
I think it's Cameron Johnson, man. Really
just being all Adderalled out.
Yeah, just sitting there, just like tweaking out, just like, well, I'm ready to go for tonight. So that's my Jam Star of the Game right there, man.
I give it a Taishan. 16 points off the bench, led all scores in this game. Again, he continues to showcase that he is smooth. He's one of the best looking guards that we've had in a while. I really feel from, you go back to the Elliot Kobo days and Tyler Eulis days and, Tyler Johnson days and all these things, or Ty Jerome days. And he really is a smooth guard, man. And I think that the backup to the backup behind Devin Booker, Landry Shamet, the backup to him is Taishan Alexander, essentially. I think that there's opportunity there for him. And if he continues to play well and hopefully we can hold on to him, I think that, again, a night like tonight is something you look at as kind of somebody who's just embracing that he has the talent. He believes he belongs. He, like you said, he has that confidence. So
he won't play 1 minute for the Suns next year.
I know, probably.
I mean, even if he is a Sun, he's not. I'm sorry. I don't think he's that. He's good right now, like with the summer league, but he's not gonna get minutes, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. Unless there's injuries
so
or
what's
unless
the point?
there's garbage, unless it's garbage time. So
yeah.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we'll be live after the game on Thursday. I have an outing at Topgolf, but maybe Matthew will be live with maybe we can ask Dave King, see if he wants to come on. Maybe you guys can shoot the shit about Summer League.
We can just wait till the next game.
We'll see how it goes.
What are we gonna talk about? So, I mean, we barely squeaked out 40 minutes here, dude, doing this. So
we're like
we'll
50.
see. Are you going to Topgolf though?
Yeah, it's I'm having a work outing at Topgolf on Thursday.
Going away party or what?
My last work outing with my team as I prepare to move on to a new place of employment. I just want to hit the ball long and straight. I want to win. We'll see. But that being said, everybody who decided to join us after a summer league game, thank you. Thanks for kicking it with the Suns Jam Session podcast. We appreciate it. Make sure on your way out the door, you hit the subscribe button. You hit that thumbs up button. Let everybody know where the best Phoenix Suns content is. If you're listening, please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're consuming this podcast. If you're on Apple, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it right here on the pod. You can follow the show at Suns Jam on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew on Twitter.
Evans Vega.
Vincent Vegas. It's such a good Pulp Fiction reference. All right, I got nothing else. Take care, everybody.
All right, go home. Love your family.
Take